Take a couple days off this week, so I've been really busy.
You gonna get some rain today?
I'm just gonna sleep. That's all I'm gonna do.
Hi, Donna. Morning. Hi, Jean. Mace. Jennifer's husband. Jennifer Cochran. Yeah. Really?
I know, it's not a very long agenda.
Well, this would be about the time you'd want to meet him.
And I thought, well, Becky, she's a perfect coach. Yeah. Yeah. No, I knew that some people, as treasures would be like, but we like, what's so great about the speaker? Good. Yeah, Paulette, hey, you. Paulette told me that you had one and she said, how are you related to Lisa? Hey, sir, how are you? I'm good. One up over the years, I'm sure. Like a lot of people did. Yeah, so, well, thank you for doing that, because it looked like it was successful.
I get it.
Yes.
Good morning. Looks like it's just staff and elected officials today. So welcome to our meeting. Do we have anyone online? We wouldn't want to offend them anyway, but welcome to our meeting here in September. Hope you had a good weekend. Looking forward to changes of weather and the fair. We will begin our meeting with, if you'll stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. First item is approval of minutes of our board meeting and work session from September 6th.
So moved.
Second.
And I'll make that unanimous, thank you. Under operational activities, we have two items from our Health Department Director, Brian Douglas.
Good morning, everyone. I'll make this quick.
No, you don't need to.
No.
No, just because I'm quick doesn't mean that you have to be quick.
It's requested the board approve a new 5-year immunization services IGA with the Arizona Department of Health Services. And this IGA provides immunization services to uninsured, underinsured, and state-insured residents.
Questions or comments?
None here.
Discussion. Question, I have a question, that is, I don't believe that I saw COVID included in the schedule of immunizations. Has there been resolution on who will pay for COVID immunizations going into the future as the federal government's no longer paying for that after some point?
I'm not able to speak for the CDC and so on, but it looks as if that the COVID vaccine will eventually just turn into another vaccine preventable type event. And so like what we're actually looking at is when you receive your flu shot, your yearly flu shot, you'll probably receive your yearly COVID vaccination as well with an updated variant.
And my concern is, of course, twofold. One is that people have access, and the second is that the county is not end up either subsidizing or paying for the COVID vaccinations.
Right. Right now, we do have a vaccine equity grant that does address equity issues with children and adults having issues in receiving their vaccine.
Okay.
And we're addressing that.
Thank you. If there's no other discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, I'll move that we approve the new 5-year immunization services IGA with the Arizona Department of Health Services.
Second.
I'll make that unanimous. Thank you. Motion carries.
And secondly, as requested, the board approve an amended Healthy People, Healthy Community IGA block grant. This amendment asks for additional reporting and administrative updates with the tobacco, the happy, teen pregnancy, and child fatality review IGAs.
And the amendment is basically the combining of the programs?
Right. There's with the block grant, there are multiple programs that are listed into one block grant, and they do change periodically, where they'll take out one program and place in another program. But on this particular HPHC, I believe what they're asking for is just additional administrative duties.
Okay.
For reporting purposes.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No.
Nope.
Make a motion to approve the amended Healthy People, Healthy Community IGA block grant.
I'll second it.
And I'll make that unanimous. That motion carries. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, our next item is Hannah Duderstadt. She deserves an introduction, but doesn't need one. Go right ahead.
Good morning. So I'm here to ask the board's approval of the vote centers and polling places for the 2022 general election. And all the poll locations are the same except one area. It's the Pima. We usually have that location at the junior high, the Digger Odell building, but we're asking if we can move that to just this round for the Pima Justice Court, since that's vacant and we can use that to our election purposes.
Very good. Any discussion?
None here.
Hearing none, I'll call for a motion.
Chairman, I'll move that we approve the vote centers and the polling places for the 2022 general election.
I'll second it.
I'll make that unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you.
That's it. I saw two paragraphs or semi-paragraphs. The next item is the actual summary of current events from the county manager and the elected supervisors. So we'll start with Dustin. You've been on the road a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I think we've all been on the road a little bit, a lot of it actually lately. Been able to travel a week ago from this Friday to our managers meeting. Actually Thursday and Friday we had a Arizona County's insurance pool. We had about a 5-hour meeting that day to button up a lot of things with our insurance pool, and then the next day we had our county managers meeting, which we went over several things, one of them being the 15 legislative proposals from the counties, 2 of which are, of course, Graham counties, and they went over well with the managers. And again, this week on Thursday, we reviewed those with the other board of supervisors. And perhaps one of you may want to report on that, but that also went well, and looks like our proposals will go to the next rounds. But it was good to meet with managers and supervisors again and correlate activities and different events, and we'll be having plenty more of those in the upcoming future. just a few things more locally. Our county sales tax that we recently received came in strong and well. Happy to report in the first 3 months of this fiscal year, we're nearly $100,000 above last year's sales tax. So we hope our local economy continues to churn and do well, and we're hopeful on that. One project that, we have several projects going, but one that we've kickstarted a little bit is our fairgrounds remodel. I've met with Bob Kempton a few times, and this last week provided him 21 different maps of the fairgrounds to start doing some conceptual plans on those different areas. And after the fair, when Trey can actually breathe because he's inundated, but after the fair, when things calm down a little bit, I'd like to meet with the board and Mr. Kempton and some of the fairgrounds staff and start looking at some of those conceptuals and give Mr. Kempton some more direction. Also just wanted to report that Colin Fanning and Brian Douglas are in the process of submitting a community wildfire defense grant, which would effectively update our community wildfire protection plan, our CWPP, which is I think about 15 years old. So it's definitely ready for an update, and there's been a lot of opportunities with grant funds, so we're going to jump into that, and that'll be another project coming down the pike. And then just Mutual Link, that this contract has been back and forth with Mutual Link, working on an agreement that will provide the interoperability communication systems with our sheriff's office and our schools. That we are very close, thanks to Gene, with having an agreement in place, and on October 3rd, we plan on bringing that to the board to review that agreement for approval and to move forward with Mutual Link. And again, that's an appropriation that the state provided last year and again this year for another $750,000 to include all our schools, which would basically provide panic buttons for active shooter type scenarios in school systems. So that'll be a good project, and we're excited to get that off the ground. Our highway department has been extremely busy working on this side of the mountain and that side of the mountain. You've probably seen a lot of flush coating on the streets. They've been hitting those real hard. And then on the other side, on the Bonita roads, where we still have a lot of roads to rebuild out there from some of those rains. And in a couple places, we actually had a 6-inch burst of rain out there that definitely did some damage. We'll be working on those streets or those roads for a long time. And lastly, I'll just mention Trey and his team have just been working tirelessly trying to get the fair off the ground going. They're spraying, as far as the grounds go, they're spraying weeds, they're scraping dirt everywhere they can and just trying to beautify the park the best we can to get ready for the fair here in a few weeks. They're printing their fair booklets, collecting sponsorships. Trey and Cindy have been very busy hiring fair workers. Our goal has been 50, and we're really close, almost there. Still working on a few superintendents and judges, and I'll let Trey report on the rest in our work session. But for now, that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Smith.
I'll just report on a couple things. We had our County Supervisors Association meeting on Wednesday down in Phoenix, and we could potentially have as many as 46 new legislators this year, not to mention a new governor and new Secretary of State and on down the line. So it's going to be a mad rush to try to get in front of people and try to reestablish relationships that will be important for counties. And of course, everyone's feeling this way, but it's going to be really, really important. Some of our electeds that were friends of counties and were real pragmatic and helped us as they know counties are at the end of the line and help people. some of those folks lost their primaries, so we're kind of starting over in some ways in building those relationships. So one of the most interesting things was economist. You have to be able to say economist, right, in order to talk about it. But he spoke and said that right now, currently, he was fascinating to me because he's been studying Arizona's economy and sales tax figures for the last 40 or 50 years. And so someone like that I want to listen to, but he was saying that our building materials in Arizona are 19% higher than they were in 2021, down from around 30. So things are slowing a little bit, and the inflation in building materials is coming down a little bit. And in his graphs, never has he seen the economy doing as well as it is, yet consumer confidence so low. Otherwise, they usually track together over the last 5 decades of ups and downs, but right now the economy is actually doing much better than the consumer confidence, and so that was fascinating to me. But there's a lot of angst in the world with inflation and elections, and so anyways, hopefully our sales tax numbers and the economy keeps clipping along and inflation comes back under control. I have no answers for all those big topics, but that's what I heard and will report.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Vice Chairman.
I don't have a lot to say today other than I'm suffering from jet lag from running through the Dallas airport trying to catch my flights and ate up by chiggers, so I'll just excuse myself right now.
Well, I've got some calamine lotion, and it was a busy couple weeks. On the week after or the week of our board meeting, there was a Desert Cat rescue board meeting. They report great cooperation with our animal control officer, and couldn't be more pleased. You'll see the newspaper supporting not only the animal control with the pet of the week with the dog, but also with their cats, and so their cat rescue. So that's really a great thing for our county and leadership. Thursday, the 8th, had a elected officials department head meeting, which was brief, but we covered all the bases. And then I stepped into online Department of Liquor License and Control hearing that lasted through most of the day. One of the issues was the Greenlee County, as well as Tucson and one other location there. They have Family Dollar wants to add liquor or beer and wine to their things that they sell, and the Greenlee Board of Supervisors opposed it in Duncan because they have 2 existing businesses that are great community supporters, but don't the Family Dollar doesn't, and so there was a kind of a trade. They wanted the liquor board to stifle trade just based on their desire to support the locals, and that didn't pass scrutiny. But there was one in the same issue, or the same kind of hearing in Tucson, in South Tucson, and that basically that they didn't get the licensing because the social you can deny a license based on impacts, social impacts, and they had problems with homeless people, and so that their issue, their license didn't pass. Anyway, just a little insight there. There was a golf tournament for the Safe House, and on the City Council meeting on September 12th that I attended, and we heard from the ACO director, Jen Marson, and had a great dialogue with her later that day, there was a meeting for a organizational meeting for Safford Lions, a 5K and 10K mental health run in October, the week after the fair. Traveled that evening to give the Wednesday morning the welcome address at the Rural Transportation Summit, attended by over 250 legislators and transportation planners and CEGO directors, not CEGO, but COGS, councils of government directors, and industry, as well as ADOT, people who were employed in transportation. And we talked a lot about, had a couple of forums about funding, and currently there is no movement toward a gas tax, even though it hasn't been raised for nearly 40 years. State gas tax, everyone who's ever proposed it's been beat up and continues to be beat up every time there's an election and publicity. Following the summit, there was a Friends of the Library radio auction on the 16th that I had the privilege of being a part of and supporting. Successful for raising money for Friends of the Library. And then Saturday evening, the Eastern Zone Hispanic Heritage Corporation had their gala dinner fundraiser, and they had so many sponsors step up that all the ticket sales at $65 a head, and the EA was completely filled. In fact, there were people who didn't have room at tables. All that money went toward the college and scholarships, so that was really a great event, well organized and recognized. We had Judge Calderon, who was the keynote speaker, and that was excellent. That's all I have to report. Busy and grateful to have things to do. It's better than just saying, I wish there was something we could do. There's plenty. We just don't have enough time to go around. So anyway, we'll move on to the next item, which is approving the payment of our bills, of demands and handwritten warrants. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And I'll approve it. I don't know, how are you gonna do that, Dustin?
John beat him by 0.2 seconds.
A buzzer.
He's closer, so his voice probably got to me.
Okay, well, it's great to see that kind of enthusiasm, and we have a couple bids to open. We have the Gila River Fire Mitigation Phase 2 bid, which creates fire breaks, I believe 11 fire breaks, additional fire breaks along the Gila River. And are these they?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So we received 4 bids, which is great. Last year we received 1. So yeah, so we have 10 existing fire breaks in the river that we created with Phase 1, and this is the final phase in Phase 2, and this would create 12 additional and give us 22 total. So this would be the actual removal and mastication of the trees and the fire breaks, mainly salt cedars. And while this is going on, we do have in the first 10 breaks, it wasn't a closed bid, but we awarded a bid for Hydra Pest Control is doing the herbicide treatment in those original 10, or he will start in October, which is the prime time to apply the pesticide to the salt cedars.
Very good. First bid is from Southwest Siteworks Limited Liability Corporation. Jacob Buckley, President. I'll let you.
Southwest Sitework LLC, total bid of $269,000.
And the next bid from Cramey Construction, who was the general contractor on our last job.
Ramey Construction with a bid of $214,200.
Okay. Next one is Hockey Limited Liability Corporation out of Gilbert. Daniel Porter is the president.
Okay, Hawk LLC.
Second to last.
Thank you. For a bid of $754,080.
Okay. Next, we have Hatch Construction and Paving out of Taylor, Arizona, and their president is Eric Ritz.
Hatch Construction bid for $522,000.
Okay. We don't award the bids at the time that they're open. We have them reviewed for conformity and completeness. And so I'll entertain a motion in that regard.
Chairman, I move that we have staff review the bids for uniformity and recommend or choose the, choose the lowest conforming bidder.
And I will second that.
Thank you. I'll make that unanimous. And that's on Gila River Fire Mitigation Phase 2. Next, we have the South Concession Stand for the 2022 fair.
Just one bid on that.
Okay. This is from La Unica, the Unique, and I'll let you read that.
So this is a bid where they would pay us to use our concession stand at the fair. La Unica minimum bid is $2,500. Their bid is $3,000. That's the only bid.
Okay,
That's for the north concession stand.
I'm sure gonna miss those St. Rosalima burritos. North Concession Stand.
It wasn't for a lack of effort on Trey's part.
I understand.
I hear he even got it down on his knees and begged, and it still didn't work.
Just the one?
Just the one.
Yes. And then this is the South Concession Stand from Grill on the Hill, and here in Safford, or actually Lebanon.
Grill on the Hill, they have a bid of $750. Well, the minimum bid is $750, and their bid is $751.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman, that was for north.
Is that for North also?
That was for north. The first one was south.
Yeah, the first one was for the south concession stand,
That's
and this
right.
one was for the north.
Sorry.
Thank you. Sorry for that error on my part. Thanks for the clarification. Okay, those were two different bids, so we need to consider them individually. So I'll entertain a motion on the South Concession stand at the fair.
Chairman, I move that we direct staff to review the bid for conformity and award the bid, in this case, to the lowest conforming bidder, which seems to be one.
Second that.
I'll make that unanimous. And next is the North Concession stand. Entertain a motion.
I understand we have one bidder and they meet the minimum. I move that we direct staff to award the bid to the lowest conforming bidder.
I will second that.
And I'll make that unanimous. The motion carries. Under call to the public, is there opportunity? You've got 3 minutes. If anyone would like to speak. Online, nothing? Okay. Before we adjourn, I wanted to welcome and recognize Ms. Welker for her attendance today. Thank you very much. Hope all is well and going well with the Sunzia project and your work there. And okay, Good. You're welcome to stay. We're going to go right into a work session if you wanted to give us a 2 or 3 minute update. That's okay. There is something. It's called, I move that we adjourn.
I should make a motion, we adjourn.
Yes, there is something I'd like to do. I just want to